Welcome everybody to the August 4th, 2020's Brattleboro Selectboard meeting. This is our first meeting on Zoom, so it's not going quite according to plan because we have a major power outage right now going on currently for a lot of us. I think all of the select board members and a good portion of the town. Peter, has the meeting been properly warned?
It has.
Okay. Do you want to just go over the plan of action?
Thank
Peter?
you. Yes. So first, I'd like to just say for the record that more than half of the population of Brattleboro right now is without power. Approximately half of the customers of Green Mountain Power in Brattleboro are without power. We expect that even though Green Mountain is actively working on some of those outages and some folks will come back on during the next few hours, likewise, because the heavy winds are expected to continue for several more hours, we expect additional trees to come down, additional lines to come down, and it'll just be, intermittent outages all night long. So what that means for the community is that Green Mountain Power crews and town crews will be out all night long, blocking streets, repairing wires, removing trees that have fallen. And hopefully by tomorrow morning, things will be safe. But we urge people not to go out this evening and urge people to be careful in the morning because there may be some normal routes that you travel that are still blocked while repairs are still being made. Because of all of that happening, we know that this evening's meeting is difficult for the select board members and difficult or impossible for some members of the public. And so we intend to conduct just a few items of urgent business and then to postpone the remaining items from tonight's agenda to a future date that we'll announce in this meeting that likely will be next Tuesday evening. The urgent matters, we had one that we knew of. I'd like to suggest to the board a second one. The one that we knew needed to be done tonight to move forward with issuance of the tax bills is the adoption of the tax rates. We'll cover that in a few moments and I'll go through it in detail. But the timing of that is important. It's a ministerial act of the board to approve the rate that will implement the budget that has already been adopted as a matter of policy making. And this ministerial act is important so that we are legally authorized to issue tax bills in time for them to be received by people 30 days ahead of the due date for payment, which is September 15th. So that piece of business urgently needs to be done tonight. And we had thought maybe we would postpone the rest of it to next week. But I see that on the call, at least he was, yes, he still is. Christian Stromberg is in the meeting this evening. And so because I believe that his request for first and third class liquor license will be not a controversial matter, I would suggest to the board that matter also be dealt with tonight. And then I recommend that the rest of the business on this agenda be postponed until the date that you select, and we recommend that it be 1 week from tonight at 6:15 on Tuesday, August 11th. One quick note on that, the board members knew that I was double checking to make sure that the warning for representative town meeting could wait until August 11th. It can. That would be 32 days ahead of September 12th. Right now we're 39 days ahead of September 12th. So the 32 days still falls within that statutorily required no less than 30, no more than 40.
Okay.
So if that is acceptable, I'm going to pause long enough for Tim to do what you need to do as a board to decide if that way of proceeding is acceptable. And if it is, then in the order in which they appear on the agenda, we should probably take Christian's request first and then the tax rate item, and then have your decision about the rest, the timing for the meeting for the rest of the items.
Okay, we'll do that. Thanks, Peter. So we will go to, do I have a motion to become liquor commissioners?
So moved.
Thanks, Liz. Liz has made a motion to become liquor commissioners. And I just wanted to check, is Brandy arrived yet? as far as anybody can see, because I have
I don't
difficulty.
see Randy on.
Okay. All right. All those in favor of becoming liquor commissioners, say aye. Raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Ian, were you there?
Yeah, sorry. Aye.
And that's 4-0. It looks like Brandy just texted me and said she's having trouble with the meeting ID. I'm just wondering if perhaps, Peter, you could text her the proper one.
Yeah, I can do that.
Because it's brand new, or just maybe Patrick can.
Yeah, actually, Patrick, if you're able to.
right now.
Sorry?
Say again? Okay. So we are liquor commissioners, and we are going to take up, well, why don't you take it away there, Peter, just because you have it in front of you.
Sure. So what's before you this evening is a request from Saxons River Distillery for first and third class liquor licenses related to the operation of a tasting room at Saxons River Distillery up on Chickering Drive. And I'll just note the sort of official checking of the boxes that we usually go through, and then ask Christian to speak to this in whatever level of detail he would like to, that and answer questions for the board. But what the board usually asks at this moment is just to make sure that everything is in order in terms of the paperwork, and that the town staff has had an opportunity to review the application and is recommending approval. Both of those things are true. All of this paperwork is in order, and the staff is recommending approval by the liquor commissioners this evening of the request for the first and third class license. Christian, would you like to fill in the board about your plans and add anything that you'd like to add to this before they act?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome.
Okay, that we're past the first part. So currently we have our new outdoor space is open. We aren't letting anybody into the distillery other than to use the bathrooms. And we plan on doing that for the foreseeable future. We've had a class 4 license since, from both locations, Route 30 and our new location at Chickering Drive. With the class 4 license, I don't know if anybody had seen the explanation from the DLC. We have, through that, we've been able to serve cocktails. As of the last legislative session, they want us to get class 1 and 3 licenses to continue this. So that is where we are. So we're not looking to change much. One of the differences between this conversion from a class 4 to 1 and 3 is we aren't required to be a restaurant. We are currently working on bringing food in-house. We've actually had our permit for a year. We just never did anything with it. Or we're going to have food trucks every day. So it's kind of like a cost benefit aspect. I'm not really in the business for making food, but we will, somehow we're going to get there. Hopefully we can just bring in other people and then they can share with us. We have experienced staff. The nice thing, we have a large area outside as far as comparatively to having only our indoor space. It's about 3/4 of an acre fenced in, and people can well spread apart. And we have plenty of chairs for people, and so far so good.
Thank you.
Questions?
Thank you, Christian, and welcome to Brandy, who I hear is just joined us. So we're 5 for 5. Any questions for Christian Stromberg?
Liz has a question.
Go ahead, Liz.
Christian, I just wondered, is there a period associated with the need for you to have food? Like you have to be serving food by a certain date?
By Vermont statute, we don't need to have food. It's something we hope to address within the week. We're currently courting different food trucks to try to, our schedule right now is Wednesday through Saturday, noon to 9. It's the best we can do with the staff we have. Also based on the demand, it's just how can we effectively do this and have it well covered. Yeah, so we're working on it. Looking at menus and how we can adapt our space to be able to effectively do that. I mean, we had planned on it when we built the place. The sinks and dishwasher, etc. And the health department did check it out. But I don't have a definitive date when we ourselves going to cook. If the best decision is that food trucks should just handle it, well, then that's what we'll do. Because there are plenty of people still, trying to find places. We just got to kind of bring everybody together.
Well, then I'm just a little confused. Are you required to have food or not?
We are not required. We are just plan on doing something anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Anyone else? Great. Well, thank you, Christian. I've heard some good reports on the way you've set things up with considering COVID-19 and all that, but I haven't been able to get out there to check out your arrangement. Hopefully we'll be able to do that soon.
Thank you. I'm quite paranoid about catching it. We're trying to do to make it work.
Yeah, it's good to have space out there, right?
Yeah, it was a little quicker than we thought we'd need the space, but I'm glad we have it.
All right. Well, again, I sort of have a combination of poor planning and lack of anticipating our power outage. I don't have our motions in front of me, but I normally rely on other people that have motions.
I do, Tim, if you'd like me to make a motion.
Sure, either you or Daniel would be fine. I saw Daniel's hand go up.
I can wait. I got the tax one. Oh, okay, fine. All right. I move to approve a first and third class liquor license for Saxons.
So can somebody make a motion regarding the liquor license? Please.
Yeah, that was either going to be Liz or...
Yeah,
Okay.
I can do that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I move to approve a first and third class liquor license for Saxons River Distillery, LLC, located at 155 Chickering Drive.
Okay, thanks, Liz. She's moved to approve a first and third class liquor license for Saxons River Distillery, LLC. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I think that's 4-0. I'm not sure if Daniel's still with us, but that's certainly enough.
Okay.
You heard me, right?
Yep, did. Thank you, Brendy. Peter?
Yeah, if the board's willing to give this a shot, I'd like to please try to do the one other piece of business. And if we get interrupted in the same disgusting manner that we did before, we can stop and take this piece of business up later this week. But it is time sensitive. All the other things can wait till next Tuesday, but I'd like to address the tax rate. If you're willing to do that, you would need to adjourn as liquor commissioners, and then I can present the tax item.
Absolutely.
I move to adjourn as liquor commissioners.
Brandy's moved to adjourn as liquor commissioners. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to move really quickly through this. I just want to note for the record that the calculations that have been presented to you in the material that was distributed earlier today are, they reflect the revenue that's necessary to be raised in order to implement the budget that you've already adopted. So the action tonight is to approve the calculations provided by staff, not to make an independent policy decision about whether or not to move forward into implementation. This is the step where you convert the decision regarding the budget into the portion of revenue that is raised as taxes. And Specifically, there are $15,154,841 to be raised for general fund operations from municipal property taxes this year, plus an additional $11,953 of what's called local agreement. That is additional local taxes raised to pay for the taxes owed on properties where local decisions at representative town meeting have allowed certain properties to be tax exempt in Brattleboro. That is a total of $15,166,794 that requires a municipal property tax rate of $1.2948. Sorry, I'll say that again, 1.2948. Basically $1.29 is the tax rate to, and that's per $1.29 of taxes per $100 of property value. So if you know the value of your individual property, you can do the math. For every $100 of value, you pay $1.2948. That will yield the amount necessary for town operations for the coming year. Actually, for the fiscal year that we're currently in, but for the taxes that will be raised with the first quarter due on September 15th, and then the additional 3 quarters to be paid as usual in the months ahead. There is separately, that applies to all property in Brattleboro. And then there's separately a tax rate that is imposed additionally on just those properties in the Downtown Improvement District. That raises $80,000 for the operations of the Downtown Brattleboro Alliance, DBA. That's a millage rate of, property tax rate of $0.1303 times the value of that property at $613,977 on the grand list, to yield property taxes of $80,000 for the operation of the DBA. And an additional separate levy that pays the debt service on improvements that were made for water and sewer utilities within the Tri-Park mobile home park system. These were improvements made back in 2013, 2014 timeframe. There's long-term debt that the town incurred and on behalf of Tri-Park to facilitate those improvements. And each year, Tri-Park pays the town, and then the town pays the debt. And the $223,276 of debt that is owed on this in the coming year will require a tax rate for this portion of 6.8785 dollars per $100 of value. The grand list in Tri-Park is 32,460. In addition, those are all the things that need to be established by you locally in order to collect the money necessary to implement the budget that you've adopted. There's also a portion of taxes levied locally that are collected for the education system, and they are based on rates that are set by the state of Vermont. In this case, what's presented to you this evening, based on communication we've had with the state and with the local school district, is actually using data that was provided to us by the local school district, but which the state and the school district have confirmed is accurately reflects the numbers that will be provided to us by the state. There may be a rounding difference, but there won't be a material difference in the final numbers. We need to proceed because the state is backlogged because of some COVID-related issues and the fact that certain of the normal annual processes were occurring later than usual in the state's calculation of these numbers. There's 44 communities in Vermont that have not yet received their state number, even though the deadline for providing that was July 31st. And Brattleboro is one of those 44, but our representation to you from myself and Andre Yeager, the finance director, and other town staff that have been involved in this is that we know that the numbers before you tonight provided by the school district match up with what we have been advised by the state are appropriate for the calculations that we have made and we're asking you to approve this evening. So that all leads to the requested action at the bottom of the memorandum dated August 4th, 2020, from Andre via me to you. I will just note for the record that this material was distributed earlier today. It was posted on the town's website, and the second page of it provides information that I believe the public will find useful, comparing the FY20 numbers with the FY21 numbers that are before you this evening, and identifying the amounts of increase or decrease. In most cases, it's increase. There's one small decrease in the details of these numbers that I've just been through. And the one that I would note for the record, because it's sort of the one more overarching figure that puts in perspective the decisions that you have made as a select board regarding this budget and these taxes, is that in the portion that is controlled by town government, the municipal tax that's being levied townwide, the amount of increase for FY21 as compared to FY20 is $35.39 per $100,000 of value in property. So again, an individual person can apply that to the known value of their property to see how this would affect them. But for per $100,000 of value, there'd be an increase in town taxes of $35 for the year, or just under $9 each quarter. And we would recommend your approval of the bold-faced action language that's at the bottom of the page. And if none of you have that handy, I can read it, and then one of you could move it.
I was under the impression that Daniel had. Daniel, do you have it? No.
I don't have access to anything right now because my data just won't open anything besides making a phone call.
Oh, okay. I got unmuted. All right. I have it. Yes.
And also, before you begin, Daniel, Patrick, if you could check to see if Ian also needs an unmute invite, please.
Thank you.
Oh, now we hear Ian. Thank you.
Hi.
All right. You ready?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
I move to approve a municipal tax rate of $1. Okay, $1.2948 per $100 of assessed valuation for general fund operations. An additional $0.1303 per $100 of assessed valuation for the downtown improvement district. An additional $6.8785 per $100 of assessed valuation for the Tri-Park special assessment, and to approve the town calculated education rates at $1.6990 per $100 of assessed valuation for homestead properties, and $1.6069 per $100 of assessed valuation for non-residential properties.
Nice job.
Thank you, Daniel. And if someone hasn't got to Patrick yet, could we make sure Liz has the ability to speak as well?
I think I've been unmuted. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah.
We can. Thank you.
Great.
So I am going to. Oh, go ahead, Liz.
Well, I just wanted to mention that I got a stream of calls from Portland, Oregon. And I'm sure it was related to this incident.
That's weird.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Getting the business out of the way first, I'm going to go ahead and forgo repeating all that. And I'm just going to say, as Daniel stated, all those in favor of approving the tax rates as stated, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
And I think we have 5-0. I'm not sure I heard from Ian, but you are still with us.
Ian's muted. I don't know why.
Okay.
Give us a thumbs up, Ian. Okay. So that's 5-0. So that tax rate passes. Now,
thank you.
We were going to forgo the RTM discussion because if we do decide, in fact, to continue this meeting's agenda on this coming Tuesday. Is that something that everyone's amenable to? Next
Tuesday the 11th at 6:15.
Yeah,
Yes.
rather than try to do it tomorrow and then have back-to-back meetings, it'd be a little rough.
Okay.
If that's okay with everyone, we're going to aim for that. It'll be properly rewarned that way, right, Peter?
That's correct. Yes, we will.
So tonight's inaugural Zoom meeting didn't go as well as I had hoped. We had a combination of nature's fury thrown at us and a power failure, and then some terrible bigotry that we had to sit through, which shows that we have a long way to go in our town and our society, I think. So, and that's one of the things we're going to be doing Thursday, one way or another, because no one's going to get in the way of our public meeting discussing things that we are here to discuss. So
Nope.
that's my determination going forward, and I'm sure everyone agrees with me. And I do want to point out that Brattleboro Police Department has a very robust digital detective on our staff, and I would hope that we'll be looking at everything that happened and looking at what might be able to be remedied on that end.
Sure, they're appalled.
Does anyone have more comments? We didn't really do board comments, and at this point,
I have a comment that.
Go ahead.
I'm kind of sad that we lost power because I actually used my own non-computer skills, but my grit, and I think I fixed my microphone today. And I was very excited to be able to use my computer microphone tonight. Darn it.
You actually do sound clearer than you've sounded in weeks. So.
Well, this is on just the phone, but I tested it on my friend today through Messenger, and she squealed because it hasn't worked in any application, so she was able to hear me. So darn it.
Great.
Next time.
Anybody else want to chime in?
Well, I'll just send that information about the calls that I kept getting in case that's helpful to the investigation.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Liz. And Ian, I trust you can go off mute now, right? No, you can't, but okay.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're off mute.
I'm off mute, yeah.
And I didn't want to put you on the spot but I was afraid to leave you muted and you wanted to say something. So.
No, I mean, I think I just echo the disgust and I feel sick.
Yeah.
I think we've all had enough for one night.
We've certainly had enough for tonight. So apologies for everybody who both wanted to get some other business done with us tonight. That was mostly the storm and the power outage. But we're going to come back and do all of that business that you see on the agenda that's been published next Tuesday, the 11th. And we have an important meeting coming up this Thursday as well, the 6th. So stay tuned to your local channels as far as any updates on what links to click. They may be changing, but they may not be. We'll see what happens with our security measures. And apologies for anyone listening who was hurt, as we all were, by having to listen to that. But at the moment, I'm feeling like let's not give it more power than they absolutely need, because somebody wanted to have some attention drawn to themselves. So I'm ready to walk away from it and turn the page, as much as we need to acknowledge the darkness that we witnessed. Okay, folks, anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Thanks, Brandy. Brandy's moved to adjourn tonight's meeting. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks.
See you Thursday.